Internet. Welcome to Updated Autopsy Report, a podcast from Yotseben and friends where we replay the entire Ace Attorney series with longtime fans and newcomers. I'm your host, Ben, and with me today is Dessy.
Hello.
And two friends of ours, Tiago.
Yo.
And Rose.
Hi.
Dessy and I are the longtime fans, and Rose and Tiago are the newcomers. We hope that through both of our perspectives as we play through the series, it'll reveal new details and provide interesting commentary for a series that's near and dear to us. Today, we have finished playing through all of 1-4 Turnabout Goodbyes, which is the final case of the game originally, until the re-release in 2005 on the DS, which added a fifth case after this. But for all intents and purposes, for the original 2001 release, this was it. This wrapped up the entire game series, or the entire first game right here, and brought it all to a close. This case ends with a credit sequence. When we play 1-5, 2 weeks from now, that will also have a new credit sequence added on the end. It's kind of fun. But yes, this is Turnabout Goodbyes. This takes a lot from the previous couple cases and tries to integrate them all into one here to provide a comprehensive conclusion to the game. The defendant this time around that Phoenix is defending is Miles Edgeworth, none other than his rival, who has been arrested for the murder of a former defense attorney. And the prosecutor this time around is Manfred Von Karma, Edgeworth's mentor. So there's one case going on here, the primary case, which is defending Edgeworth and proving his innocence. And then there's also this backup case happening where the Dl6 Incident, has kind of come back in. We've gotten hints and teases about it throughout the earlier cases, and now they're finally bringing it up. And, you also basically have to resolve a portion of the Dl6 Incident here in this case to bring it full circle. So I guess as we go through it here, we'll take it just quote-unquote day by day, since there's 3 days to this case, and do the first investigation and courtroom segment, in which Maya and Phoenix hear about the incident with Miles on the news and immediately rush to Gourd Lake, where there have also been rumors of Gordy, Loch Ness monster alike, that people have been looking for out on this lake. And they meet a photographer there who is supposedly taking photos for research, but is clearly here because she wants to find out about Gordy. And so there's a lot
content.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here at the start, but I guess for setting all this up, Tiago, what were your thoughts as you started this case here?
Low key, I thought that Miles did do it. I was like,
okay.
Low key, I was like, because
you were convinced by the intro video.
Well, yeah, first of all, they have the Columbo-esque intro video in which that they show Miles Edgeworth holding the gun, and made me think that this man clearly did fire it, but then he's holding it. I think that initially I thought to myself, yeah, he did it, but it was probably accidental manslaughter. And then they make it a point that halfway through this case that you talk to another attorney and he goes, accidental murder is still murder, and I'm like, no, but I guess for the context of this game, yes.
Yeah, we muddle the terms. We muddle the terms quite a bit here, using the term murder, despite accidental manslaughter.
Literally,
the actual key term.
Screaming in my own home. I was so furious.
I literally, I was like, all right, so in this universe, if you accidentally cause the death of another being, that is murder, and you will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
No such thing as accidental murder.
Which is apparently 3 days. That's the full extent of the law.
Uh,
I thought the case was, like, I liked the case. I had myself frustrated, and I was very close to looking up an answer to the guide, which was simply like, it was day 2. So day 1, you spend investigating Gourd Lake. You meet Lotta Hart.
Right.
Day 2, you go back to Gourd Lake to investigate, and you find out Lotta Hart has information that you need, and that information can only be given once you find out her true ulterior, which is Gordy. Find out
Right.
who Gordy is. Larry's here again?
Yeah, Larry's back.
Larry's back, and I do like Larry. He did make things more complicated, but he did save us. So, take him or leave him,
Right.
So the issue that I had is that, like, I figured out what Gordy was, which was an inflatable steel samurai suit with the flags wrapped around it, stuck in the lake. But the issue that I had is I didn't know how to proceed. So I, like, literally went to every single fucking page in the game, interacted with every object, and then realized that all I had to do was talk to Larry about it. And Larry's like, oh,
right.
yeah, it's him. I just forgot that talking to characters was an option, as opposed to just presenting them evidence. Because at this point, I've just reached the whole, like, alright, I interact with the character, I show them every piece of evidence in my pocket, see how they react, and then proceed from there. And then the third day was you finding out more about the Dl6 incident, which was referenced in case 2. I enjoyed this case a lot. My issues with this case was that, like, I, as an adult human being in the real world, was like, low-key, if he did it, I don't think he's gonna go to jail. It's like manslaughter at best, right? And then people were like, no, that's murder. And I was like, oh. Well, now I guess I gotta defend him, right?
And the thing is they don't, they set the stakes in that Miles is going to confess about this. Miles is convinced that he's the one who, killed his father.
Spoilers!
Well, listen, this is all open spoilers at this point.
I freaked the fuck out. Thank God you swear. I was losing it. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, he thinks he killed his dad. Perfect.
Yeah. But they don't set up what the consequences of him confessing are. Like, yeah, Von Karma wants to win this case to preserve his perfect record, and Phoenix doesn't want Miles to be harmed or in any way, go to prison or something like that. But they don't explicitly say, like, what the actual legal consequences are of they just leave it vague for you to, I don't know what he could be charged with after this. He's just going to confess,
Nothing.
No, you can't confess. It's not true, Miles.
You can't be charged with anything. He was 8.
Right, exactly. And you talked to us briefly about this, Rose, on the stream when we brought it up a little bit, that you were very passionate about this point in particular, that yes, he's 8. He can't really be charged by this. It just doesn't...
It's not even accidental manslaughter in the state of California. I mean, Japanifornia.
Right.
Go watch the stream at youtube.com.
All right,
that's totally the URL. Yep.
I'll slow down on the legal mumbo jumbo, which is not really mumbo jumbo because I don't actually know anything, but I do know how to read a website.
Real talk? I forgot that he was fucking 8 at the time. I fucking forgot that he was a legit child in shorts and shit. He was also wearing a cravat at 8, so, like, should be tried as an adult.
Cravat and shorts.
Even if a child is wearing a cravat, that you cannot be charged as an adult is morally wrong.
So how the case breakdown of, like, the killer of the man in the lake turns out to be the security guard who was also in the elevator where Miles' father got killed and Miles in the earthquake. I feel like I should we do like proper case breakdowns where we explain beat by beat, or is that just like too much?
At this point, I feel like we can, like I said, we can break it down day by day. But we don't have to get into like presenting each each like little piece of evidence and that sort of thing. Like let's go by kind of just by day and character here. So like first day, the main thing is to kind of start proving that there's doubt that Miles pulled the trigger on the guy, right? And you're doing that through a lot of hearts photography evidence. That's like the main pull at that. And that's what gets you to the end of day one of court and gets you out of there. So like I guess I'll put it like this. What do y'all think? A lot of heart, Rose?
What do I think? I thought she was
Yeah, we'll
cute.
go around the table.
I thought she was cute. Cryptid hunting is a thing that dear to my heart. God love everybody who does it.
Yeah.
You know, she definitely was a little bit like, wow, you really don't understand how court cases work and stuff. But
Yeah, she does.
that's every single witness I've encountered other than April May, who knew exactly how it worked and was playing me like a fiddle.
Right.
And I miss her.
God, I miss her. I should call her.
Oh, yes, in prison.
Call her on your cell phone.
Mhm.
Call her on my flip phone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like 2005.
So
My
then,
track phone.
Tiago, any lot of hard opinions?
I actually love her character. I love her design. I think she's fun. I like a witness who's sort of antagonistic to the player.
Oh
Like-
baby, oh baby.
She's literally like,
That sure is the entire game.
I mean, yes, that's the thing though, right? Is that like every other witness is also sort of antagonistic towards the player, but like a lot of heart sends you on a fucking fetch quest.
Right.
She literally derails your investigation in order to get a piece of evidence for her benefit. I have mixed feelings about it because like I should like her character. I've like if I was not playing this game, I'd be like, wow, a lot of heart's really cool. But the fact that I had to sit there and be like, a lot of heart, do you actually know what the fuck you're talking about? And she goes, yeah, of course I do. And I go, really? Do you? And she goes, no, my bad. Like, what
She
the
eventually
fuck?
told the truth. Just
Yeah.
two questions.
She was just in my way, and I was like, please, I'm trying to save a man's life, and she's like, I'm trying to catch a murderer. I'm Southern.
Yeah.
Also, she's supposed to have like an Osaka accent, right? There's no way.
Yeah, we double
Yeah.
checked that when we were on the stream. We were like, well, she's got to have an Osakan accent, right? And yes, that was exactly the case. So, yep, good old fashioned anime localization of turning Osakans into Southerners.
I feel like
You know.
any funny accent that a character has in a localization, you look it up and you're like, oh, they originally had an Osakan accent. Like,
Yep.
you guys have any other accents that
I think
we're just gonna turn them into all this one? Like,
I think in Danganronpa 2, there's a character who was supposed to have an Osaka accent, and they gave him like a Louisiana accent.
yeah,
Like-
That's like deep
Highly
south.
specific. Okay.
Like
In-
Southern Bayou.
Yeah, I was
spin the
gonna say
wheel.
that's like deep south accent.
And
Yeah.
I was like,
That's like we've been down here in the swamp up to our waists since we've
It-
been born.
it's kind of funny. I was just like, huh. Wasn't there a piece of media that gave Osaka accents like Jersey accents? And I think that's actually the funniest way to interpret that.
Any accent. Just always, this character originally had an Osakan accent.
Yes, that's fair. She was the only person we interviewed day one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was.
Oh,
She.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Oh, Merry Christmas! This took place on Christmas.
Yeah.
That's a
exactly.
key point.
The iconic Phoenix Wright meme. If it was prior to midnight on Christmas, it wasn't Christmas yet.
Almost Christmas doesn't mean it's Christmas.
Almost Christmas season wasn't Christmas.
Dessy, did you have any lot of hard opinions revisiting her this time around?
I used to remember liking her kind of fondly in the beginning, but my brain painted her. I thought she was black from my memory. I think because of her hair.
Mm-hmm.
So, or maybe I had an issue with her hair looking like that too back when I was first playing the game, and I'm like, why is her hair like that and she's not black? Like she has a little, almost like a little red hair afro type style. So I don't know if my brain just did that on purpose or what, but I don't remember hating her. I
Mhm.
remember kind of thinking she was kind of a cute character, but I think this time around, with how much she gets in the way of stuff,
Right.
she ended up being more obnoxious. But I think that's just, you know, coming from playing the game to playing it again. It's like, oh, I remember her being kind of cool, but now I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I to slightly jump off of that, we don't have to like delve into this, but something I picked up on when we were playing through the game again is Larry Butts's new girlfriend, Keonce. And it just feels like that would have been localized differently nowadays.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
it's just a little bit on the edge of a black stereotype, and I'm just like, well, are you sure about this one, folks? Are you sure about this one? But like I said, we don't have to get into the details on that one because I think we're all on the same page there. But I raised an eyebrow or two seeing those lines go past.
I just sort of saw it and went, and like sped through
Yep.
because at that point, like, what else can you do?
Yeah. I will say it is nice to see Larry again in his goofy outfit, his goofy Santa outfit, and
Selling samurai dogs.
selling samurai dogs. It's so funny that's that's what they decided to localize them at, is samurai dogs.
They needed to pull a pull from the previous case, and how else to do it than to include the Silver Samurai once again?
Deal.
Fuck.
There's
That's how memorable
some...
that character was.
From Takumi's
Oh, he
blog,
comes up more.
Yeah, from Takumi's blog, he mentioned that some of his inspiration for this case, he was writing Turnabout Samurai dialogue and the intricate details of the case during the day, but then during the night he was hammering out the structure of case 4 and trying to figure out what he would put in it. So he was working on both cases at the same time, and he does mention his exact quote is, "What started it was an amusement program on television. It was a corner that introduced a funny news from all over the world, and they talked about a certain incident. A blank," he censors it here for some reason, "flew 70 meters through the sky with a big bang and flew through the window of a home. That was funny. It was definitely funny, but it made me think ... I tried to Google various news articles to see if I could figure out what news item he's referring to. I could not find it, unfortunately.
How could this be censored? It has to be dildo, right? Or
well,
something?
that's the thing. Or branded. That was the only other thing I could think of, is something that's branded, and he didn't want to say the exact brand thing. Because, again, if something flew through the air with a big bang and landed in somebody's home through their window, like, and that's where he got the idea for the Steel Samurai balloon, like, blowing up into the lake. Yeah, it could be a dildo. It could be just like a Mickey Mouse balloon or something, or, you know, something like that. And then he just didn't want to say. I don't know why. But yeah, I tried to search for it and I could not find it because I wanted to figure out what was the inspiration for this. And granted, this would have been an article from like 1999 or 2000 at this point. So it's a little tough to do digging for, you know, oddball, you know, comedy news articles from that time period. But anyway, he also then brings up that he went back to his old canard from the producer who told him, when you want higher ratings, bring out kids and animals. And so that's why he brought in Polly the parrot. So as we get into like day 2, then you get introduced to the noodle shop owner / boat shop rental manager, who is Yanni Yogi.
We don't know that.
Well,
at this
I mean,
point.
yeah, I mean, we don't know it at this point, but yes.
He's just called Uncle.
Right. Did you guys like this bit with Phoenix and Maya having to pretend to be his like kids? And pretending to take on like this weird bit where they don't know yet that he's faking it this whole time.
I think that, like, I was just looking at him and I was just like, this man is supposed to clearly be drunk, right? Like, I do not interpret his character as someone who
Was
had
senile or whatever.
extensive brain damage,
Yeah.
like, from oxygen deprivation. I read him and I was like, you're clearly supposed to be drunk, right? Like, you're just supposed to be a drunk dude inside of a building, and that's cool, man. But then, like, you can't show drunk kids to children. I mean, you can't. Well, first of all, you should not be drunk as a child. The sentence I want to say is that you can't show a drunk person to a child, so they have to, like, localize him as, like, he has brain problems. And I'm like, is that better? Is that better to...
I mean, that's what it is in the Japanese version too. So that was the original.
Really?
Yeah, that's the original setup because it is the oxygen deprivation. Is my understanding is that's consistent. I believe.
You know what? Then I'm the asshole here because I just assumed he was drunk. I straight up was like, this man reads to me as a drunk. Like, we even like do the whole like, yeah, anything you say, man. Like, that's how I would respond to a drunk person if they talk to me.
How I respond to a drunk person is, get the fuck out of my way. I gotta cross-examine your parrot. I know this meme. I need you to move. And he
time to talk to Polly.
He just would not stop talking, doing that long animation. And...
The animation was actually the fucking worst. I actually hate that.
Yeah.
I think we are all in agreement on that one. It's
The
just a little bit too
popping.
long.
Because you can't mash through it. Like, you gotta play the fucking animation. And I'm like, there's a man's life at stake, sir. Can you please pop your nose?
He falls asleep every single fucking time.
I wanted to mash that button so hard, and it was not doing anything.
No.
It was very frustrating playing it during study hall when you only have about 30-45 minutes to play, and that shit's taking forever.
That sounds
You got to
incredible.
play video games during study hall?
Yep, we were allowed to do whatever we wanted during study hall.
What the fuck? I had to study.
No, study hall was just, I didn't want to take an elective class.
I had to at least pretend to. No, I didn't take study hall until senior year.
Yeah, I had to play my PSP in history class like the rest of us.
Nope, I played it in the middle of study hall every single day with two friends leaning over my shoulders.
There you
Aw.
go. That's friendship.
That is friendship.
Friendship is to catch a murderer.
Yes.
So like, day 2 involves the cross-examination of the caretaker who turns out to be Yogi, who is the security guard from the original incident that resulted in Miles Edgeworth's father's death.
Dl6.
Dl6. And then the second character you cross-examine is, after the fucking verdict, Larry Butts, who's like, no, I want to save Edgy and shit like that. Is that allowed? Can you just continue the fucking court case after a verdict?
You can in this game.
You just appealed really fast.
Right. It's just instant appeals. Yeah.
The judge just says, I retract that last statement, and then it is law.
I
That fucking sucks.
immediately declared double jeopardy and give Miles Edgeworth off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how that works. Yeah, I mean, the games. I'm trying to remember how often this happens in the future, but I think they lay off the post judgment twists, and instead start to have them keep them right before a judgment. Because I think people really start to associate seeing not guilty as like case is over kind of thing. But
the case definitely still fucking went.
But yes, here it keeps going. One thing we haven't really touched on here is the new villain, which is Von Karma.
Manfred Von Karma.
Manfred Von
Karma.
Karma.
Yeah, you're not just against another prosecutor. This is literally a piece of shit human being.
Yeah, I got pretty tired of him immediately.
They really play him up here.
Yeah.
So yeah, what A, was he intimidating, or B, was he just
I
frustrating?
forgot his voice was as low as it was.
Dude, legit, like,
So low.
when he said objection, I felt like I was being killed in an RPG. Like, I felt like I got attacked for like 9,999 damage. This man was like, the voice doesn't match the body.
It definitely
This
feels like they tuned it down a couple octaves in the audio editing
Why they give
software.
a pussy such a big voice?
Manfred Von Karma is the mentor of Miles Edgeworth, which is why he's like the demon of the courtroom or whatever. So like this man's shittier, right? Like he legit like told the witness not to say shit and was like, "Hey, don't say this." And I was like, "Hey, why'd you tell him not to say that?" And he goes,
Edgeworth did that.
"Yeah, I mean, yeah,
I
I
didn't
also
like
think
it when
Edgeworth was
Edgeworth
shitty.
did it.
I also thought Edgeworth was a piece of shit when he did it, weirdly enough. But like this man is on the third day even shittier. He straight up is like manhandling the judge at this point, like fucking telling him how to do his job. So here's the thing: is that I've absorbed a lot of
I
information.
predict this will end in 3 minutes. 3
Exactly.
minutes
That's
later. 3 minutes have passed.
I was trying to figure out why I've never heard about this man through my osmosis of the Phoenix Wright series, and I'm like, why doesn't anyone ever talk about Manfred Von Karma? And that becomes exceedingly clear by the end of the third day. And I was like, oh, that's why no one.
Yeah, because he's a one and done. Yeah.
And I've heard there's something better to talk about for the Von Karma name. I learned a spoiler.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll get there very soon.
I think I know what it is.
My
So I
attention
didn't think
is
about.
redirected.
I didn't think I would remember until it got brought up, and I was like, "Hey, wait a second! This is a video game. No one just shares names for no reason." That's why, So on the second day, you have to connect the caretaker as Yana Yogi, and like say that this case has something to do with the Dl6 incident.
Mm-hmm.
So like before I had to do that, I was just reviewing the Dl6 case, and I was like, "Hey, your wife's name's Polly, which is the same name as your parent. Weird."
And starting to piece that together early.
Literally in the car case, they go, "Oh, by the way, what's the bird's name?" I was like, "It's fucking Paul." Larry literally saved a life by being the most competent person he could be. And that's what's important. He was listening to the radio, and I don't think it was a crime for him to listen to the radio, but he made it seem like it was a crime to listen to the radio.
A requests show, a Christmas Eve requests only show.
That's so sad.
Here's the thing, though, because I'll pivot here. Larry, in addition to saving a life, though, here's the thing: he kind of set things on this entire path in the first place. As we get revealed, Phoenix's and Miles's like backstory in 4th grade that set them on the path to become attorneys. In which Phoenix gets accused of stealing somebody's lunch money, right? And they have a court. A class trial, which is insane that the teacher lets this happen. First of all, and then Miles defends Phoenix, and gets him off, but proves that he's innocent. And Larry, who wasn't there, he's just like, "Oh yeah, no, of course that was great." And then at the end, it's revealed that Larry was the one who took the money in the first place, as he returns it to Miles. And
you think it's the exact
wild.
same money? You think it's like he just took the envelope?
Exact $38.
It's literally the same physical bills.
Yeah, he never opened it. He just took it to fuck about.
Well, so as I was doing some research here, again, this quote's from the Gyakuten Saiban Library the translator there, Ash. They have done some incredible work translating all of Takumi's old blogs.
Thank you so much, Ash.
Takumi writes about something almost exactly like this happening to him when he was a kid. So the exact quote is, "So, this happened to be when I was in second grade of elementary school. I was playing in the schoolyard when I found a piggy bank that was thrown away in the garbage disposal area. There was 1 coin worth 5 yen inside. I didn't think much of it and put it in my pocket. The next day, I was made to stand in front of a girl that I didn't know in a different classroom. A teacher I didn't know was yelling at me, saying you shouldn't steal. Now go apologize to her. Apparently, that girl's savings box was stolen, and someone had seen me playing with her piggy bank near the garbage disposal area. I only connected the dots later, but that was probably what was going on. No, it wasn't me. I only picked up the 1 coin. The mind of young me was all blank. I just didn't know what was happening to me. Apologize right away," the hysterical voice of the teacher cried. The piercing, cold eyes of a class I hadn't seen before were aimed at me. "I'm sorry," I cried as I bowed my head to the girl I had never seen before, several times, all because I took 1 coin of 5 yen. There was no Miles Edgeworth in that class, so I did not become a defense attorney. But instead I used this story to write the game scenario, so all's well that ends well.
Yeah,
Oh, buddy.
Takumi built different because of that incident in elementary grade.
So here's the thing. During the stream, we kind of like laughed at this situation, thinking like how silly it would be that this really happened. But guess what? Schools are fucked up. I guess this shit really happens.
School children are truly.
I remember
the teacher was involved here too. I
Yeah.
think is important to be aware of, which is wild.
Teachers
Do you think
also.
they just got out of reading Lord of the Flies and thought we could do it better than them? We could do it. We could do this. We could have a society.
Mhm. Right? Yeah. We.
The fact that the teacher just assumed that it was the kid too, didn't even like. Oh my god.
If you had an actual class trial, then you would have needed brought some evidence to prove this one way or the other.
Or you could just make a bunch of fucking conjecture and just assume shit happened the way it did, huh? Looking at you from across the room, other detective video game series. So like,
Watch out, detective video game series. You might start a new career line for somebody.
Who? Oh god, no! I don't want that. God, no! God, imagine if someone becomes a fucking detective or a lawyer because of the Danganronpa video game series. I'd lose my mind. I'd be so scared, actually. I wouldn't want them to defend me. Larry, key pivotal moment in both cases, in almost every case. In this specific case, I should say. You know what? Let me make that sentence better. Let me try again.
Mhm.
Larry being pivotal in both the elementary school grade case and the incident here with Miles Edgeworth. I like Larry a lot, and I think he's a fun guy. I like his sprites, he's cool and all. I would not want to fucking hang out with him. He's too much goddamn trouble. Like every other day, it's some new shit with him. He's like a fucking Always Sunny character, and I'm like, I can barely handle this. I can barely handle the fact that I have to defend a man from apparently in a world where accidental manslaughter doesn't exist. Fuck, dude. Because if it was me, I would have just been like, alright, take the accidental manslaughter. We'll fucking try to lower your sentence. Like, I know this is fucked up, but we gotta try our best here, Miles. And Miles would be like, yeah, you're right, absolutely.
It can't even be accidental manslaughter because in order for that to be your sentence, you have to already be committing a different crime, a non-lethal crime. But you have to be committing a crime and an accident leads to manslaughter.
Being at the park late at night.
That is
Loitering.
Okay, yeah. Like, I think the state of California website gives the example of like stealing a bike. Stealing a bicycle and you bump into somebody and they fall down and hit their head and they have a heart attack and die. That's accidental manslaughter.
You have the page open right now?
No, but I did read all of it earlier.
Okay, got it. I was like, damn.
And I was like,
fucking...
this isn't even
Sure.
it. I did. I told you, I got really mad.
Really? Okay, fair enough.
I feel very strongly that children cannot and should not be convicted as adults. It's actually something I'm very passionate about, and it happens an upsetting amount of times.
I was gonna say that it was accidental manslaughter in the fucking boat. I wasn't even talking about the Dl6 incident.
Oh.
I was straight up gonna get... if I was Miles' Edgeworth's lawyer in that case, I would have told him to plead guilty to manslaughter.
He wasn't even holding the gun.
Yeah, I'm not a good lawyer.
It's in the wrong hand.
Good thing I'm not his fucking lawyer.
You are.
Well, no, Phoenix is. Trust me, he had a better hand. He had way more faith in Miles than I would.
Wait until you find out who picks the answers for Phoenix in the game.
That's the thing, though, is that, like, I don't really feel like I'm picking the answers to Phoenix. I'm simply picking the answers that, like, what do I think Phoenix would say? Like,
That's
I feel
called
like...
role-playing, baby.
Yeah, that's nothing wrong with that.
I don't feel like I'm in the role. I feel like I'm just, like, another dude in the courtroom, and I have, like, a camera, and every time
Phoenix does feel like his own character. You aren't necessarily playing Phoenix. You're just the player character who is making decisions for him. Like, he goes into his headspace, and you're kind of like the voice inside his head, but you are not Phoenix himself.
A second-person video game. Finally. So, like, I think the thing that, like, I took away most from this case was the fact that, like, in every piece of osmosis I've seen for this piece of media, everyone's just like, Miles is so obsessed with Phoenix, right? And all that stuff. It's the opposite. It's fucking Phoenix who's obsessed with Miles. This man turned into he literally changed his whole career for Miles Edgeworth.
Just to get the chance to talk to him again.
Just to talk to him again.
That was pretty gay.
It's very gay.
So
extremely.
I mean, Miles says some stuff also that I'm like, yeah.
I'm not saying that, like, Miles doesn't have that energy. What I'm saying is that the clear forward momentum is being caused by Phoenix, right? Like, he is the one driving this because fucking... So, I'm trying to think of the timeline, right? Like, he hears about Edgeworth being a prosecutor at the age of, like, what, 20?
24.
24? Well,
no, he's 24 at this current age.
Yeah, but when does he become a prosecutor? Like, age 20? Age 18? Some, like, ridiculously young number.
Some ridiculously young age.
So, like, Phoenix heard about this, like, 4 to 6 years ago. And he said to himself, I'm going to go to law school.
I'm going to take the bar.
I'm going to take the fucking bar. And I'm going to pass so that I can see Miles again.
He said he tried to contact Miles before, and he didn't respond. So he's like, the only way is if I meet him in the courtroom, and he's forced to meet me.
I'm going to take the bar to see him.
This is literally the plot of Legally Blonde. This is literally... Elle Woods goes to Harvard Law School to see her beloved, who turns out to be a dick.
Ace Attorney walkthrough. We watch Legally Blonde.
Yeah, there's that meme of Phoenix Wright leaning up against the poster of Elle Woods from Legally Blonde, saying, "We're really in it now, Elle Woods."
That's so correct.
It's really good. We'll have to put it in the show notes or something. Somebody, a fan artist drew it. It's truly delightful. So
Legally Blonde came out 2001, so like Phoenix Wright did see that film.
Absolutely, 100%.
100%.
I had a temp.
He saw that. He saw that and thought to himself, "This is what I should do."
I can do that.
And then he did.
He did.
We kind of like broke away from doing the thing about like talking about each day in order.
It's fine.
Yeah, we're loosey.
Listen, if you hit this episode of the podcast and you haven't watched the stream or are familiar with the cases, what are you doing here? Go watch the stream.
Yeah.
Go watch the stream and go play the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Or play along. Play along's good too.
So who was like really surprised or blown away by going into the police records room and encountering first, the terrifying visage of Von Karma looking you dead on instead of from a 3/4 angle.
I straight up thought that was a different person. Von Karma 3/4 has a jawline that's strong. Looking dead on, he looks like an emaciated vulture.
Oh, yeah.
He is an emaciated vulture.
He is, and I guess like on day 3, we find out that this entire incident on the lake has been orchestrated in an attempt to get revenge on Edgeworth, and that the real villain of the Dl6 incident and the mastermind behind this incident is Von Karma, the fucking prosecutor.
Yep.
Prosecutor.
The new executor of all form.
And there's a note, right, that you find in Yenny Yogi's safe, right, with Von Karma's handwriting that gives all the details for Yogi for what to do to set up this perfect crime and to frame Edgeworth. And so you get to take this original note. You take the original note. Phoenix holds it, and he walks directly into the police office, walks past every officer into the back room, and holds it up in front of Von Karma and says, "Is this your handwriting, Von Karma? Did you write this?" And Von Karma goes, "You know what, motherfucker? It is." And then he tases both you and Maya, knocking you both out.
And taking the fucking letter.
And taking the letter and just presumably destroying it so that there's no evidence. It's wild for like a climax, part of the climax of this case to have the literal prosecutor of the case tase you both.
I did not process
wild.
that. Yeah, at no point did you think to take this letter to a fucking policeman. On the other hand,
photocopy it first or something. I'm begging you.
And he gets away with tasing me in the police station. Nobody heard anything.
I know,
the
right?
police chief is too busy playing chess, and that other guy is too busy trying to not divorce his wife. He's way too busy. Gumshoe wasn't there, and he's the only cop I trust.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Makes sense that Phoenix didn't talk to anybody. I do this thing where I go into the room and I examine every single fucking object. And every time I examine the fucking lady on the wall, and it's like, oh, that's not a police officer. That's actually a Babes in Uniforms calendar. And I'm like, fuck, do they got that for sale? Like, is there more?
I'm judging.
Listen, alright, you know what? I have nothing to defend myself, ACAB.
Yep.
I'm just saying that there's, if you showed me a lady in a firefighter uniform, is that not hot?
I mean, we should support our firefighters.
We should support our firefighters.
Different category entirely. If
Also,
you're looking for some babes in uniform, you will get some throughout the series. Don't worry.
Oh, fuck yeah. The police chief, obviously incompetent. That guy on the left, I'm going to call him Jake. He's incompetent. I don't know what his real name is, and I never will.
I can't believe you. You're a fucking insane man.
What do you mean?
Because I gotta say this now, because I can't just let this drop. The case 1-5, we're literally going to meet another police officer who works there, whose name is Jake.
How
Wait,
is he?
really?
You fucking bastard!
Nice.
Bam, Tiago prediction.
I'm a fucking. My foresight is 5 sight.
Oh,
It's so fucking huge.
genius.
If I didn't know any better, I thought you were looking shit up.
No, I honestly no, because there's that one joke about how like every cop looks like a Jake. So I just,
Okay, yeah, right, yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay, alright.
so I just assumed he was a Jake. Oh my god! I wonder if we should. How anti-cop are we gonna make this podcast?
We already said ACAB. What else?
That's true. I've already listen. If you're one of those people who calls me for donations to police unions, stop.
I mean,
Mhm.
listen. No, those are all scams anyways.
God. All right. So Phoenix gets fucking jumped in the records room. No one hears it.
Maya steals a single piece of evidence out of the folder as Von Karma's leaving, and she's getting tased. She snags a little tiny bullet in a little baggie out of the folder.
Also, it's like Meyer's arc through this case also like fucking filled me with stress because I was straight up like, no, Meyer, you're useful. Trust me. If I did not have you here, I'd be thinking to myself alone, and that's way more sad. Trust me.
Don't get cute faces.
I need a funny sidekick to like help me do shit.
Right.
Phoenix Wright, I don't think can cook. Or like bathe by himself. He needs a chaperone.
I don't think
Maya
Maya can cook either, but
No, Maya can order pizza though. Phoenix Wright, I'll say it right now, does not know how to operate a telephone. Because if he did,
Phoenix Wright obviously doesn't own an air fryer.
obviously does not. Alright, legit though, if he had a fucking cell phone at any point during this fucking video game, we'd be able to call up people instead of being like, oh, I guess he isn't here right now. Well, I guess I'll just have to come back later.
Yeah, something you don't think about back when you're in high school and you don't have a cell phone.
A pager could accomplish what we wanted to do here.
I
The
shared
A lot of
was-
things. Listen, a lot of things in a lot of games could be solved if people just talked to each other.
I'm just saying, a pager, the Pokemon communicator that you use to call Dr. Elm, could be the same piece of technology to help you solve this fucking case.
Maya
Hey,
and
Gumshoe.
Phoenix can share a cell phone like my friend and I did in 2005 or whenever this game came out.
Exactly. You just need one friend with a cell phone, and then you all ask to use their friend when you need to call your mom. You'd be like, hey, can I use your phone number? I gotta call my mom. And then your mom calls your friend over and over, being like, hey, where's my son?
Yeah, this is all very relatable.
If this happened to me,
It's all coming together.
it's all coming together. So Von Karma, of course, fumbles it, and like literally, he was about to win this fucking court case, and all he had to do was properly tase a teenager, and he could not do that in the end.
And also, he gives you the layup of, oh, what do you want to do next, Phoenix Wright? You want to cross-examine the parrot? Come on.
I
That's
do!
actually very good.
He
I'm
tempted fate too much there.
I'm so fucking. He was in true Columbo fashion, talking out of his ass. And the other character goes, "I think I will. I think I will."
Speaking of Columbo, I just have one little tidbit. There was a like question and answers with fans from a couple years back, in which all the Ace Attorney staff got fed some questions from fans that in a magazine. And again, I'm yanking this from Gyakuten Saiban Library just to be clear. And the question number 38, a fan asked Takumi, "How about creating a Columbo game using the mechanics from Ace Attorney?" And Takumi says, "I love Columbo, and I have all 45 episodes on DVD. Everything after that, I don't consider Columbo." So A, he's not a fan of new Columbo that they did in the 90s. And then B, this will become a long story if I get started. So, you know what? Yes, please, someone please make that game. I want to play games myself too sometimes. As though to say he does not play anything aside from just working on video games, which, you know, hey, game dev, I know it's hell. But I find that very funny that he's like, I don't want to make it. Somebody else please do it.
That's so fucking relatable, though. Another tidbit is that you can see Missile in this case. Missile the dog.
Missile, yes.
Very
Missile inspired by Takumi's real life dog, also
So-
named Missile.
This is my actual second interaction with Missile, because I played Ghost Trick, Phantom Detective, Shu Takumi's other video game series.
A very
And by
good
series,
game.
I mean it's a single fucking game.
Yes.
It's very good, and inside that game, there's also a dog named Missile, and I love Missile to death.
Missile is so good.
Detective Gumshoe gives you 3 options on how to solve the Cordy case. And I never thought to myself I should take the fucking metal detector, the most useful of the 3 items. So I chose the dog and then I chose the fishing rod. Only by process of elimination did I use the metal detector, which gave me the fucking answer to the case.
Right.
Also, so a big thing about the Dl6 case is that Phoenix posits that there's 2 gunshots, but they never find the second bullet. And Phoenix and in that moment, I truly also went, Phoenix. So Phoenix has 2 options. I don't remember what the first one is. I clicked it randomly just to be like, is that the right one? And it was like, nope. And so the second one was the murderer didn't need to take it, but they had to take it. What if it was in him? And then the judge goes, I clearly know you're talking out of your ass, Phoenix, but that's a legit valid point.
It's a very funny bit. It's very
And
funny.
Phoenix goes, yeah, wait a second. And Von Karma's like, I can't fucking believe this.
I was not talking out of my ass. I had that metal detector in my hands like a baseball bat, aimed at that man's head. I had solved it. I was ready. Just
You
needed
knew that it was in him?
You were ready from the beginning?
I wasn't. As soon as they were like, "Where's the second bullet?" I was like, "My metal detector, my metal detector." Like I just knew. In
Yeah,
contrast,
because it's been sitting in your inventory all this time,
I know.
waiting for use.
waiting for me. And in contrast to earlier for the lake murder, where I almost killed myself trying to show everybody the gun, which had been fired 3 times, though everyone kept saying it had been fired twice. And I was so mad that the game was not letting me do it. I nearly died.
I almost lost the first day of interrogation because I was like, hey, Lotta, you seem to be talking a lot about the fact that this gun was fired twice. It's been fired 3 times?
Yeah, exactly.
What the fuck, Lotta?
Almost died.
Yeah, I almost got killed by the judge. I assume that when you run out of gauge, the judge kills you like a Dark Souls boss.
He just takes out a Glock
just fades
and
to black.
shoots you.
Somebody's gonna have to
comes
do
up.
an animation of the last exclamation point exploding and then you died.
I think what would happen is that right now the judge is standing on sitting on a podium. Or he's standing. Is he sitting or is he standing?
He's sitting.
He's sitting.
He's sitting. I assume that he's sitting, right? But he's sitting at a level where like he's actually taller than the rest of it. He's freakishly tall, so that when he stands up, he's like 2 stories tall. And he just kills Phoenix like with a hammer.
With the gavel.
With the gavel, which is actually human size.
Turns into a megaton gavel.
He just has
He
more
crushes-
souls. Just has more souls than me.
Every time he pronounces a person guilty, he gets more souls. You use the metal detector on Von Karma to determine the bullets inside of him.
Yeah.
And it never occurred to me the bullet was inside of him until I realized he never used his right arm that often. That's why he always snaps to the left. And I was like, huh, interesting.
And he also does the gripping animation where he grips his jacket, and his left arm there a bit too.
So like, it never occurred to me that like Von Karma was actually part of the fucking incident until Phoenix goes, yeah, the bullet's still inside the killer, and I was like, wait, what? Is that why Von Karma? Oh,
Beep, beep,
oh!
beep, 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 beep.
And then this motherfucker is, oh my god, that scene where he was bashing. So like, we find out it's Von Karma. He admits to being responsible for the Dl6 incident. He bashes his fucking head into the court stands, and that was scary.
He's so mad that he got beat by Phoenix Wright, whom he considers to be an absolute idiot.
And he's right.
I cross-examined a parrot. I cross-examined a fucking parrot in court. He's
And he's
right.
like, I lost to this bastard.
He literally lost to a court jester of this court. And like, fucking, I was just like, yo, Von Karma, you good? The answer is no, he was not good.
No.
He was a fucking murderer.
Miles Edgeworth fucking being like, oh yeah, I'm guilty for the Dl6 incident. I was straight up like, objection, Miles, shut the fuck up. Shut up, Miles.
Miles,
what are you doing?
Miles,
You so badly just want to say objection and shut up when it happens to you all the time.
Yeah.
Because it literally does. They're just like, objection, this is ridiculous. And the judge is like, yeah, you're right, shut the fuck up. And you're like, no.
Like, Miles, there's something to be said about his character and that he's willing to carry the guilt of something that he wasn't even sure that he did. And to carry that guilt for fucking, like, what, 16 years or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
15
years, the statute of limitations, which is a huge fucking
14 years and 364 days.
Yeah, exactly. This was probably the case where I actually legit started to care about Miles, because it showed me a lot to his character. But, like, I was also just frustrated because I was like, I'm your attorney, and I'm telling you to shut the fuck up. Why
It's Shut the Fuck Up Friday.
Shut the fuck up, Friday.
It was.
I need you to shut up.
God, has anybody taken that video and done that with Ace Attorney characters, animated them over top of those two lawyers, those two attorneys saying it's Shut the Fuck Up Friday?
God, yeah. That needs to happen.
As the new resident Miles Edgeworth expert, Rose, how did you feel about how they wrapped up Miles's situation here then?
I was so excited about all of this. Literally, like I said, I was messaging everyone I knew played Ace Attorney. I was like, you guys, he thinks he killed his dad. Like, no context. I'm just messaging people at like 10 o'clock at night.
I was there for this.
Yeah, I was so excited.
I hopped on call and you had to stop talking about this.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was when I beat the case. That was when I was excited about hitting Von Karma in the goddamn face with that the metal detector. So that was all I wanted.
I think that might be one of my favorite moments of this entire first game, is using the metal detector on Von Karma. It's just a great moment of having that item sitting in your inventory for long enough where you're like, where am I going to put this to use? And then finally getting to catch him, and it's in front of the entire court, you know? And there's no way out of it, kind of thing. And then you get that great breakdown sequence from him.
He'd get his ass.
I would just assume the other attorney is insane for bringing a metal detector to court. I would assume that, like...
I'm already insane. I cross-examined that parrot.
So I never thought I was going to use that metal detector again after using it at the fucking, at the beach to find the gas tank to find out who Gordy is. I was just like, this is not going to be relative. How do I prove that Von Karma has the bullet? Oh, I'll check the gun ballistics. And then I see the metal detector, and I'm like, no fucking way.
Yes, way.
Am I supposed to use... No fucking way.
But yeah, no, I liked Edwards already. I could see the tragic backstory. I could sense it. I finally got it. It was great. It was nice. Also, absolutely wild about the implication that the guy who actually killed his dad is the guy who's been his mentor for the past 15 years. That's definitely not going to come up later and be an issue, I bet.
Wait, that's actually a good fucking point. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's a recipe for some serious daddy issues I love. And yeah, we're gonna find out how that goes, I bet.
Yeah. As then for the wrap up bit, you get this a short scene. It's not too lengthy. With all the characters, Gumshoe, Edgeworth, Phoenix, and Maya kind of all talking there at the end and exchanging some, congratulations. And they're like, oh, we're going to go out for food. And, a lot of Heart takes their picture and you get your little freeze frame. And then there's a brief note that well, Miles was still technically in detention, so he couldn't come with us to go out to eat and have food for celebrating him being declared innocent, which was really good.
That's his punishment for being a dick the first two cases I had with him.
That's true. He was a pain in my goddamn ass.
He actively lied in court, so you know what? He doesn't get to have fun dinner. He gets to have prison food.
He said he was... no, he didn't say he was sorry. Work on that.
He literally never said he was sorry.
We're gonna work on that later. Miles and I are gonna talk.
So there's a moment where Lotta Hart takes a photograph and she goes, I'm going to become a paranormal investigator. There's a ghost in the photo. When I first read that line, I was like, hey, that's fucking stupid. And then I remembered the ghosts actually exist and that she was in that photo.
Yeah, and Mia's actually there on the other side. She just arms crossed,
arms crossed, titties out. Fucking
always titties out.
Literally there.
God love her.
God bless her.
I love this, the credits bits. The music for the credits is really good, and you get these little scenes with every character that you encountered throughout the game. Kind of like a where are they now? I don't know, Dessy, is it the same for you as it is for me, where this is kind of nostalgic now coming back to this, even though I have literally
it hit me
just
a fucking
played
train.
this?
I remember being like, oh, this is where he gets fucking tasered, isn't it? I remember this. Because I remember being shocked about that.
But I mean,
Intent.
even just specifically like the credits bit though too. Like I for some reason that credits music gets me every time. I don't know.
Oh, listen, if you play the main Zelda medley at the end of any Zelda game, I will cry. Like, I will cry.
Uh-huh.
That is just how I am. So yes, I do get emotional when they play stuff like that.
That's why I've been using it as the credits music for all the podcast episodes so far.
Wait, really?
Yeah, well, I think my bit here is that I'm going to be using the main objection theme of each game and the main credits theme of each game as the intro and outro for every podcast. So as we play through each game, the music will change accordingly.
Ah.
There
So I
you
think
go.
that'll be I think that'll be fun.
Bit reveal.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Well, watch me change that 6 months in, but who knows? For now that's the plan.
No,
If you're in the
But then
future, disregard this.
Yeah.
if it, in the past, how did you get here? Ooh.
So the credits
that-
play, and then at the very end of the credits, after all like 9 names of people who worked on this game, which is again is just insane that it was
Absolutely crazy.
it was such a small team for this. And then at the very end of the credits, then hold it pops up, and they reveal, oh yes, there's another case now.
So, in the thumbnail for that case, I saw a lady with like a pin on her scientist jacket, and I recognize her, but I don't know from where. And I'm like, who are you? Who are you?
Who could it be?
I assume Call Shot, Phoenix Wright's sister.
All right. Is it time for us to make our predictions?
Yeah, it's prediction hour.
Okay,
It's-
prediction hour.
All right, prediction time.
All right.
What do y'all think for case 5?
Well, Tiago's made one outlandish prediction, which will probably be true.
Yeah,
No,
I
probably not.
already confirmed his other one about the
Yeah.
police
Oh, yeah,
officer
the
named Jake. So.
Jake is there.
You've been right
Um,
about weird things, so.
I was not right about Santa being responsible for this case,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that turned out to be okay.
Yeah, that's true. That did not come to fruition.
Well, Larry was kind of responsible for literally everything.
Is
so-
critical, but he wasn't the murderer.
Fair, good
Did
point.
not murder anybody.
I think Phoenix will, this episode, kiss, fall in love.
Good for him. I know one thing that somebody told me about this case, and I'm going to use it to make my prediction, which is that we will apparently see the inside of Mr. Miles Edgeworth, my new son's office. And I
Mhm.
predict that it's going to be full of cravats. And also,
That actually checks out.
yeah, and also a giant life-size. But he keeps
Life-size
it.
Phoenix
But
Wright.
he keeps it behind a curtain that also looks like a cravat.
Ah,
Okay.
he is a pet monkey.
All right. Between those three things,
That's just gumshoe.
one of us will be right. Oh, gumshoe.
Gumshoe has 2 pet monkeys. One named Gum, one named Shoe. I literally have no idea what the next case could even be about. And it's kind of scary to think about the next case, because part of me is like, I think this case does a really good job of wrapping everything up, so I can't see why there would be a need for, like, a post-game case.
We gotta get Maya
It's-
back, right?
This is
Something.
fairly standalone. So you have to remember that this was added after all the other
Yeah.
3 games in the first trilogy came out. So this has to be so this next case has to be standalone. And it does some really interesting stuff. I will say my recollection of it, and we talked about this briefly with Iro on the show, on the stream, was that it's long. So do prepare yourself for that. It's even longer than case 4.
I just a moment.
And
This case came out after the whole trilogy?
yes, because remember, games 1, 2, and 3 all came out on the Game Boy Advance. Then
Holy shit.
they re-released Game 1 on the DS, and that is also when it came out in America. But when they released it on the DS, they added Case 5 as extra content to say like, hey, here's another reason to buy it again. And Case 5 also has, you'll be very excited to hear, DS unique features, such as using the microphone or the touchscreen.
I don't know if the microphone or touchscreen works on the 2DS I gave Rose.
I believe they have alternate button presses that you can use instead
Oh my
of that.
God.
But yeah, this was at the time where they were like, "Oh, we got to use the unique gimmicks on the DS."
Hey, they
Here,
should
it's-
bring that back for Animal Crossing because the megaphone was the best thing in New Leaf, and I want to be able to scream my villagers' names into the DS microphone.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
like-
they added yelling objection, into the DS for this one. So
Oh my
that's
God.
when they added that feature in here, so you could hold down the Y button and then yell objection into
I'm gonna
the
scare
DS,
my dog. Yes.
and that would go here. So that was kind of when they made all those changes with the DS re-release.
So, I've actually never talked about this, but so now that I know that this case is post-trilogy, and I'm trying to figure out, is this case going to have a weird tie-in with Apollo Justice, the quote-unquote fourth game of this series?
Well, it happens still in the timeline. Like this happens after case 4 in the timeline.
Understood.
And
I was
before
about to be
game 2, but it is added back in later. So it's kind of weird in that sense, but
okay.
chronologically, y'all playing it here, it should line up fine. It's just you have to remember that it was put in after the fact.
I was going to change my prediction to include the fact that I think that low-key is going to have a kid version of Apollo Justice. And he's going to be in there. I actually love Apollo. I love his design. I think he's actually really cool.
Apollo is I love him. He's so cute.
He's so cool. He's like a spunky lawyer. And who doesn't like a spunky lawyer?
I don't know anything about Apollo Justice.
So before
They were
I
still a
started
little
playing-
ways away from him, but we'll get
Oh.
there.
Oh, there's
We're
a
so
girl.
far away
There's a
from-
girl with the top hat.
There's a girl at the top. She's a magician, I think.
Trucy.
Wait,
Yeah,
what did you just say, Des?
Trucy.
Trucy is her name. Yeah, we can't get
God.
too into the weeds on future games quite yet because we are
I thought
literally
you-
months away.
If we tell me
listen.
anything, I'll die.
I'm not going to tell you anything about Apollo Justice. I'm just going to have a story in which that, when I was younger, I actually wanted to pick up Apollo Justice when I was a kid because I thought the guy on the cover was so cool. But then people would be like, oh, that's from the Ace Attorney series. And, my brain couldn't separate the fact that I would have to play 3 other games in order to appreciate Apollo, so I never played him. I'm just saying this now because I want, so that once we're done with the next 2 games, I'm going to be super pumped for Apollo Justice. I want to see that man so badly.
Yeah, once we get into those games, there will be some interesting cultural context that I am hoping to do some research on to bring some interesting tidbits to the table with that. So we'll do our best when we get there. But yeah, that's case 4. That's quote unquote the end of the game.
Shout out to Maya's journey from being like, I don't have faith in myself, and me gripping her by the shoulders going, I have faith in you. You're probably the most important person in this fucking office.
Yeah. And she's
Shout
gonna go
out to
learn to
Charlie.
be a spirit medium.
Oh, Charlie is, I don't think that's his real name. I think it's
VIP, very important plant.
different. Very important point.
It's
All right, never mind.
definitely Charlie. I checked.
Yep.
Oh, it is Charlie. Okay.
Yeah, if you go to the office and you examine Charlie, it's like, this is Charlie.
Yeah, you're right. That is correct. It is Charlie.
I love this case, and I love Miles Edgeworth. That's it.
And you're gonna get some more Miles Edgeworth next case too.
He's gonna be so fucking sad. I'm all about it.
There's gonna be some very funny bits that you are not that I think you all will not be anticipating that will pop up here. So I think there'll be some good bits. And like I said, this one is a pretty big case. It has a lot of NPCs and various characters that you meet. So I think it'll be fun to dig into. Yeah. We are going to work on playing case 1-5, which is Rise from the Ashes next. Basically, that will be 2 weeks from when you're hearing this episode. And you can keep an eye on our YouTube channel as well for the streams. You can follow the show on Twitter at Ace Attorney Pod to stay up to date on the latest episodes. And like I said, we post there often with various Ace Attorney jokes and memes and links for when the streams go live or the YouTube VODs if you want to catch them at your leisure later. You can follow me on Twitter at Yotsuben. Dessy, where can people find you?
Yes, this is Death on Twitter.
All right. And Tiago, where can people find you?
At Tiago S. Dutra on Twitter.
All right. And Rose, how about you?
You can find me at Arts on Twitter, and if you are interested in any reasonably priced commissions or illustration work, please hit me up. Please help me. All right. See you
Yes,
later.
Commission Rose. She does great
Commission
work.
Rose.
Yeah,
she
does
does
great.
art for the game that I run, from which, and I love it.
Yeah, it's good shit. We love and support all our friends here, so we'll absolutely plug Commissioning Rose here.
Commission all of us.
We have a small enough audience. I don't feel awkward. Yeah, commission everybody. What the hell?
Commission everyone. Commission all four of us to record a podcast episode for you about anything you want.
And just in general, commission artists. You know, there's
Fuck
been some
NFTs.
fuck NFTs. There's been some
Fuck
NFT shit going around. Just pay artists. NFT bullshit is
Pay Rose.
silly.
Pay Des, pay Ben, pay me. Pay all of us.
All right, and with that, thank you so much for listening. We hope you will, if you can't pay us, we hope that you'll rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, which just recently added reviews, or your favorite podcast platform of choice. The reviews really do help. They bump us up in rankings and make us visible to other people. We don't pay to advertise or do anything like that. We're just doing this for fun. So if you like this show, and if you want to just tell other people about us, it means a whole lot to us. And it means we'll be able to keep doing this more. The next episode, again, is 1-5, tackling Rise from the Ashes 2 weeks from now. We hope that you'll come back and listen along with us then. And until then, stay tuned. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.